Okay, we're back, part 2. Didn't want to run the video too long, plus I need to reposition the camera a little bit so we can see what's going on over here. See the wire? It's going to be hard. Have a trusty razor wire knife. Likely going to be the only way to get this insulation off of around the other two wires. So what I do with these, there's only two wires in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a wire here and a wire here. You can kind of see how it's a rectangle instead of a circle. I go in the middle toward the end, and when I push the knife in the middle between the wires, it should go through, and I should be able to cut that insulation in half. And then I'll be able to talk to you about that. See how that peels off the wire. That protective insulation. Now when you poke the knife through, you might cut this part of the two wires, and that'll cause a short later. So after you do that, you can pull this insulation. A lot of times you can pull this insulation with that cut, and it'll tear further away from the original spot. So if you are going to do this, after you get a little bit of gap in there from stretching it, just make another little cut, hopefully, without getting into the wire insulation, just the protective insulation here. And sometimes you can do this and pull the insulation and it'll split it. Sometimes it won't, but that's another little tip. You can kind of maybe try to do a precision cut there if your knife is sharp enough. That razor might be dull, so that means got to be careful. A dull knife is the worst thing you can have, because a dull knife will cut you faster, because when you try to cut something, if it doesn't cut and it jerks in your hand or something, then that's when you, I guess you could say, get stabbed. Hopefully that's okay to say. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just tearing this really strong, like electrical tape type of insulation that surrounds these. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that little thing there where I originally cut through the insulation. I'm going to start right there and start to strip it at that point, because also when there's a wire that has gotten into rain, you want fresh copper for good connections. And since those were cut in the same spot, start in the same general spot there, move the insulation, so now I'm just going to cut them down to about 1/4 inch. remember the trick I was talking about to make sure to put your heat shrink on before you start connecting it. This blue one here is only blue because it's bigger. A lot of times somebody with the color codes maybe can tell you exactly why that is, but typically it means size. So when you're doing electronics on the other type of electrical stuff, the AC stuff, you have different colors. So there's codes for low voltage and AC, you know, higher voltage or whatever. But that's another story. So we got this going, this going. That's approximately where it was at before. Because I can always tie wrap it a little bit this way somehow. So we'll just give us plenty of room to mess with. You're always supposed to cut one wire at a time. Giving you as many tips as I can give you that as I'm going through it here. I don't expect you to remember everything unless you already know, and then you kind of know what I'm talking about. And then, did I tell myself that I was going to run out? I don't know. So this one might be tricky. I'm going to have to try the red smaller color. See if I can get one to go here. This one's a tighter grouping wire, so we'll see if it fits in there. If it does, we'll be alright. Alright, it did. Alright, and then we'll use the last blue. That means I have to go get some more blues. Twisting the wire so it goes in there as good as possible. Easy as I can make it. Some people will hold it before they crimp it to make sure the wire's pushed in. And crimp. I should have tested these already. Okay. And then let's see if this one's big enough to do them both. I don't think it is, so I'm going to put some heat shrink on the other side. Just just like that. Just like that. This doesn't matter, but it does. You can keep this good practice on the lower voltage side, but if the white is neutral and the neutral goes to ground or whatever, then always do the neutral before the hot. If the if the black is hot, black or red, stuff like that. I'm trying to give you little hints if you want to explore further into what I'm talking about. If you don't know, I won't say now you know, but I'll say at least you have an idea of another question to ask, or look at other videos and see if anybody else talks about those little things like that. So now I'm holding the connector and I'm holding the wire in. And now I'll crimp it. Trying to show you all the practical stuff there as much as I can, to help as much as I can, because basically nobody ever helps anybody. And there is a trick: if you get it too hot, you'll burn the copper and the insulation, and they'll just get brittle and they'll come apart. So I wouldn't pull on them yet. And we'll just hopefully heat them up here. That one looked like it got a little warm. Okay, so those have to cool. While they're cooling, I will maybe go ahead and put these together. Why, I don't know. Maybe make sure they don't pull apart. And then a little extra insulation is never bad, as far as I know. These are still a little warm, they're together. So here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try this to see if it'll fit. If not, I might just be done with that blue thing, that heat shrink, because it just might not be big enough. And I don't think it is. So I can get it to slide on there, I'll heat shrink them together also. But if I can't, I can either just leave it there or cut it off. So I don't think I can. So what I'm going to do, instead of putting electrical tape around those again, and go with this right here, because I'm going to go all the way up and down. And these are places where they can rub through. That's another reason why you put more there, but that might be just a little overkill. I don't really know. So I'm going to start back here, and the reason why is to prevent as much water as possible. From ever having a chance. From getting to the wires. It's good to go a little further here and then come back the other direction. Kind of cross it, cross hatch it, whatever you want to call it. And that should be a good repair for those that haven't ever done that before. The only thing left will be, maybe I'll zip tie it up here or over there, just to leave a little room in case I ever need to do this again, because tires blow out. So, and then also end it like that. Put your little thing there so you can find it. Pretty much clean up, and without putting the zip tie on and everything else, I'm just going to turn the lights on and see if it works, and then you can see if I'm a dummy or not. Highly educated dumb trucker, whatever you want to call me. Unlock the truck door. For the road bats, Flip on them lights. Turn this around. That light works, so let's see. That light works. That light works. Let's see if we made the light work. Boom. All right. You know what it is. Try the alternative.